Well, welcome in to My Dogs Are Barking on MPW Digital, presented by Heath Brown's Barbecue. And man, we welcome you on a Tuesday to this edition of My Dogs Pod. My name's Landon, and we're going to be looking at a couple different things today for Mississippi State. A little bit later on in the week, we are going to be going over our way too early preview of Texas A&M. We'll do that on Thursday, and we'll be able to kind of look at, what does this matchup kind of hold? I remember last season, you forget about the games being played, the season's so long, and all of a sudden you come to the other end. But Mississippi State actually was in that game for a good while, but now has to go on the road at Kyle Field. They're in College Station. And, I was talking to my wife about, like, man, where are places we want to go this football season, since we're going to be covering the games and credentialed to cover the games. And College Station is just one of those, like, in terms of the town, I don't know anything about it. But the stadium, like Kyle Field, looks so unbelievable, and I always heard just great things about it. So that's one. We're between that and Gainesville. We got a new baby, so we can't just be going every single weekend. Starkville was a lot easier to go to cover than Tempe, Arizona was last season. So anyway, looking forward to talking about that on Thursday. But today we're going to be talking about Mississippi State's offense, some of the newbies that Mississippi State has gotten in the portal, and honestly just kind of breaking down two questions. And that is, one, will Kamario Taylor start a game this season for Mississippi State? Which, of course, opens a whole nother can of worms, because that means, does Shapen get hurt? Does Cromenhawk not work out? And then we're also going to be discussing Davon Booth and Fluff Bothwell, the two running backs for Mississippi State. Who ends up leading Mississippi State in rushing next season? Again, go back and watch some of those games from last year. State's defense buckled. But when State was able to move the ball a little bit later in the year, Davon Booth was able to get going. A lot of positive things happen for the offense. So there's a lot of good things this is as strong of a running back room as State has had in a good while, in my opinion. So we're going to be talking about that. Very excited about it. We're going to read some of your Twitter responses to both of those questions. So you never know. You never know when your reply is going to be read aloud on the air. Hopefully you don't have an embarrassing username. Just saying. Just throwing that out there. But we want to let you know that this episode and every episode is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Heath Riles Barbecue. And we got the lemon pepper buffalo seasoning right there. On Saturday, I had a group of guys over, had an NCAA football tournament. It was phenomenal, and we grilled wings. And man, using Heath's hot barbecue rub just won everybody over, man. And so, listen, here's the deal. If you've never tried Heath Riles Barbecue, you need to do it. It's Heath Riles Barbecue is trusted by over 15, or is sold in over 15,000 retailers nationwide. It is trusted by pit masters, but also just backyard cooks alike, just like me. So you can pick up his products many different places, but I'll save you some money if you just go to HeathRilesBarbecue.com, enter promo code DAWGS10, DAWGS 10, all one word, at the checkout, get 10% off. And he just now dropped a new sauce, pineapple habanero. Very excited to try that on some ribs this weekend. And look, I'm just going to tell you something. I used to be almost 350 pounds, 343, 345. I'm still a big boy. I'm in the 260s now, but I'm trying to work my way down. I know what it's like to eat delicious things. All right. You can there's a couple of things in life that, if I say something, you're like, I don't know about that. You can trust me when I say I know what good barbecue is. And Heath Riles has it. So make sure you try that, man. And let me know what you think about it. Also, want to thank our caffeine sponsor, Arpa's Coffee Bar. There in the heart of the Cotton District. Arpa's Jose and his family. Well, Jose and his family understand that the food and drinks are best enjoyed in the company of friends and loved ones. And look, there might not be a more scenic, fun place than the evening in Starkville in the Cotton District, just sipping some coffee at Arpa's, or eating something delicious, getting a drink, whatever it is, man. Jose and his family will take care of you. It's a local business they're owned in Starkville. You need to take advantage of it. And look, we'll get you 15% off by mentioning that you are a listener of this podcast. Say, hey, I'd love the 15% off MyDawgsPod discount. And they'll be like, sounds great. And they'll give you 15% off. So use that even just to try it, and you will not regret going to Arpa's. And also, look, man, I was thinking about the different players in the portal and thinking about, who is there anybody that really sticks out. And Fluff Bothwell is the guy to me that really sticks out for Mississippi State. And that's a guy that worked really hard. his freshman year, he was from Aniana High School, and then he came over to South Alabama, had a great year, averaged like 6.5 yards per carry, and did really well. And all of a sudden, he transfers to state. He earns a payday, and I'm just going to tell you something, man. He might even end up being rich when it's all said and done. But what does it mean to be rich? Maybe it's less about reaching a magic number and more about discovering the magic in life. Skip Langley is your Batesville, Mississippi, Edward Jones financial advisor serving clients in the area and across the state. You can count on him for financial strategies that can help you support a life you love, because the key to being rich is knowing what counts. So contact him today at 662-563-9843. And together you can find your rich, 662-563-9843. Edward Jones, member SIPC. So the first question I had this week, and I was thinking about, last season, and I believe is it 4 games that Shapen ultimately was able to make it through in 2025? It was the Florida game that Shapen ultimately was knocked out of, and Michael Van Buren came in relief, and honestly played pretty well, but just kind of fell through there towards the end. So yeah, it was last season. Shapen started those first 4. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4. And end up losing to Florida. It's so funny, man. State finally was able to run the ball in that game and put up 28 points, but the defense was just pitiful. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. But any chance I have to just talk about the defense for a second, which, by the way, I did think it was funny. Jeff Lebby at Media Days, when we're covering him there in Atlanta, and one of the first things he mentioned, he made it a point, I noticed, in the small meeting room with just the MSU media, and in the large room, the main media, it's like everybody, ESPN is in there. He made a point in both settings to mention how excited he was and what a good job Coleman Hutzler is doing. And he's kind of setting the table like for positive things and kind of getting it out there like, look, yeah, made a lot of improvements. And he also mentioned the defensive staff additions being such a big part of that. So I just thought it was interesting. He mentioned that unprompted both times. Like it wasn't as if someone asked about the defense and then he brought it up. Someone asked a different question, and in both times he came back around to the defensive staff and the additions that they made. So I thought that was interesting. And we'll see if there's, if the proof is in the pudding, so to speak, whenever it comes to actual, kicking it off. But anyway, Shapen, has not been able to stay healthy really since his first year at Baylor. And the thing is, when he stayed healthy, they made the Big 12 championship. And they lost that incredibly close game to Oklahoma State. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, it was Oklahoma State. And so Shapen played really well that season. It's just literally since that season, he's just not been able to stay healthy. And it's a part of kind of who he is, kind of his makeup as a player, kind of his style. It's an aggressive run style. We've talked about on the show many times. But when we interviewed Lebby in the spring, he mentioned that that's what he's talked to Shapen most about, is this ability to play to play smarter, to slide whenever you have to. You don't have to go into the middle of the field and take a big hit. And so he's brought that up several times. So I have that expectation that Shapen's really going to be trying to play smarter in that sense. But the question comes back, if it's not Shapen, who is it? Is Luke Kromenhoek playing, or is it Kamario Taylor? I'm just telling you, I don't think Kromenhoek's QB2. I think Kamario Taylor is quarterback 2. Just from the several people that I've talked to that are around the program, even just being there in person, Kamario Taylor looks the part in every sort of way. And it's not just the abilities he has, and he's got a lot of abilities. It's the ability that he has to kind of be the guy in the room, and like the kind of guy he is. When you listen to him, you go, darn it, like that's an SEC quarterback. That's a guy who understands, like he's from 30 miles down the road. He stayed committed through some really tough stuff and said he's not going anywhere. And so he just kind of embodies all these things that Mississippi State would love in a quarterback. And Kromenhoek, I think he's a talented guy. But I just don't think he, at this moment, and he might end up being the better quarterback down the road. I think right now, if you want to win, I think you put Kamario in. Want to win? Put Kamario in. Dang, that's good. And so anyway, the question really is, okay, well, when does he come in? At what point do you put Kamario Taylor in? So I asked this question over on X, yesterday, 2 days ago, if or when Kamario Taylor is going to start a game in 2025. And got a lot of comments. Drew Coleman says, I sure hope so. Samson said, I hope he gets a good amount of playing time for sure. But if Blake Shapen is 100%, 110% balling, I don't think Kamario Taylor starts the game. If Shapen starts to struggle, I 100% believe he gets a start. Let's see. Yeah, several people say due to a Shapen injury. Yes. Some Pirate Bones 22 said needs to play no more than 4 and develop. Understandable. Philip Owen said no, unless there's an injury to Shapen early in the season, then I can see Cromenhawk getting the call. But if he's not effective, you pull the trigger on Taylor. So a lot of people having that same kind of feeling of I'm thinking that Shapen's going to end up being hurt, and that's the reason he's going to come in. I did think Josh McBriar mentioned he's so excited to watch his kid explode. So yeah, that's the thing. There is a lot of buzz around Kamario Taylor, and so yeah, that's the question. Is if he does come in, is it going to be because Shapen gets hurt or because he's struggling? And I just got to say, like, I don't know, Shapen's is a fairly consistent quarterback. He doesn't turn the ball over a lot. He doesn't really play a lot of hero ball through the air. Now he plays hero ball. You know how Brett Favre loved to scramble, and but he'd scramble out to the outside and chuck it really deep. Well, Blake Shapen's kind of the opposite. He kind of scrambles, but he just goes forward. He's not really worried about going side to side and throwing. He's trying to make a play with his legs, and he's a talented guy. But that's how he's gotten hurt. And it's my opinion, man. And I hope that he makes it the entire season through. But I don't know. I don't know a great track record of guys that have gotten hurt every year, and then all of a sudden have kind of fixed their. I don't know. There's a reason some people are just injury prone, and that's just kind of how they stay. But I hope not. I hope he stays throughout the whole season. But if Shapen, for any reason, just cannot physically compete, it's Kamario's turn. And if Kamario gets in, I don't know if he's coming out. I really think he is super talented. And so at the moment, I slide him into QB number 2, certainly, over Cromenhawk. But again, I could be wrong. Also, let's not forget about Vic Sutton. I'm just saying, QB4, he exists. All right. So we will be back here right after these messages from MPW Digital. When we come back, I want to talk about Davon Booth and Fluff Bothwell. I'll pause here for a second, though. I can't remember if I told the story the other day, but Lebby is so like straightforward, and he's business and coach speak all the way through, which for Mississippi State fans, I think can become a little. It's not ideal because they had Mike Leach. If State never had Mike Leach and you just had Joe Moorhead giving coach speak and Dan Mullen and we'll see, and lower body injury. How Dan Mullen would speak. But then you got Mike Leach, and it's like everything's insane and hilarious. And now you go back to Lebby, and Arnett obviously was, didn't say much. But Lebby is a different kind of, or is a guy that's very much coach speak all the way through. So I was trying so hard to pull, fun answers from him. I couldn't do it. I will make him laugh at some point. That is my goal somewhere down the line. But yeah, I'm just mentioning all the funny names on the team, like Fluff and Stonka and Red. And I was going to ask him if there's someone else that no one, does not get the attention of having a good name or a good nickname. Mississippi State players have good nicknames, man. You remember Craig Chicken Sword? Who comes up with chicken? That's insane. So anyway, when we come back, we're going to talk about Fluff Bothwell and Davon Booth. And we'll also take a look at Mississippi State's schedule once again. So we'll be right back after these messages. You're watching MyDawgsPod on MPW Digital, presented by Heath Riles Barbecue.
All MPW Digital podcasts are brought to you by our friends at Parish Brewing Company, located in the heart of Cajun country in Broussard, Louisiana. Parish Brewing Company's simple goal is to make awesome craft brewed beer, and they do it remarkably well. The doctor is introducing their new go-to IPA, Dr. Juice. It's a highly crushable juice bomb, dry hopped with a blend of their favorite hand-selected hops from the Yakima Valley in Washington. Dr. Juice's drinkability is sneaky good, considering it clocks in at 6% ABV. The pour glows a rich cantaloupe hue with a thick frosted haze, soft mouthfeel, an aroma and taste that's full of passion fruit, papaya, and blood orange, making it drink like a glass of freshly squeezed juice. They also have Ghost in the Machine. It's a double IPA brewed with obscene quantities of hand-selected Citra hops from Yakima Valley. Expect pungent grapefruit flavors and aromas, tropical fruit, less harsh bitterness than most IPAs. Again, it's Parish Brewing Company. Wherever you get your beer, check out Parish. Make sure that you look for them because any beer that you get from Parish is going to be absolutely outstanding. Thank you from MPW
Brought
Digital.
to you by Easy Hemp Company. Easy is a hemp-infused sparkling water. It's a guilt-free alcohol alternative, a natural way to relax and unwind. It's all natural. Made with real fruit, no added sugar, low calories, gluten-free. One 12-ounce can of Easy has 3 milligrams of THC. With Easy, it's easy to avoid the gummy scare and control your experience. So change the can, not the ritual. It's easy. Visit EasyHempCo.com to view the Easy Finder to find Easy near you. Easy is Farm Bill compliant with hemp derived from THC, CBD extracts. Easy is for people 21 and older. Enjoy responsibly.
MyDawgsPod on MPW Digital, presented by Heath Riles Barbecue. So the best addition that Mississippi State made in the portal, and they made a lot of additions in the portal, especially on the defensive side of the ball, had to get better. But I think the guy that people are most excited about is Fluff Bothwell. And the running back last year at South Alabama had a really good season. He was the Sun Belt leader in rushing as a true freshman last year. He's a good size guy, 5'10", 230, kind of low to the ground. But had 834 yards on just 112 carries, 13 touchdowns. And he led the Sun Belt in rushing touchdowns. You think about that, 13 touchdowns on 112 carries. It's pretty remarkable. Averaged 7.4 per carry and had 4 100-yard rushing games. And he was just a 3-star recruit out of high school. Not a ton of offers that were worth. South Alabama certainly was his best offer. And so now we look at what it's going to look like for Mississippi State this season. And Davon Booth had 800 yards of his own last year. And so I started thinking about it, man, who's going to end up leading this team in rushing? I'm really excited about that part. Mississippi State last season, forget about the defense, they couldn't run the ball for the first half of the season. And because of that, everything was just on, shaping to make a play. And then all of a sudden you're 3 and out and you can't get behind, and the defense can't stop anybody. Well, now if you're able to run the ball and kind of grind people down as time goes on, then the defense gets more of a rest. But they could not run the ball at all last season. And so it turned into a situation where State had no choice. Like, they have to throw the ball because they can't run it. And it's just 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. And so if State's able to run the ball effectively, this team's going to win more than 3 games. This team might even win more than 4 games just because they'll be able to extend the game. Think about this. State was able to make several close games last season with A&M, with Florida there for a little bit, with I'm losing one other team. Anyway, State was outmatched by so many teams, and yet they were down 7 and had the ball with a chance to go tie the game against A&M there in the fourth quarter. And A&M's a much better team than Mississippi State, but they couldn't even run the ball then. So imagine if they're able to move the ball now, how they could be effective. You see how kind of like you start to kind of think about it like, well, geez, that's what has to happen. So I asked the question today, who will rush for more yards in 2025, Davon Booth or Fluff Bothwell? And got several responses here. Sampson says, I'm going with Booth. Sheldon Vance said Booth goes for 800, Fluff around 650. That would be phenomenal. Michael says Davon. Tom Self says Booth. Off season after dark says Bothwell gets my vote. Too smooth for you says Fluff. Cam Carr says yes. And Ned Betty says Camario Taylor. So interesting how everything's kind of set apart. Either way, I don't know. Davon really, really improved last season. But if you look at Davon's body transformation from last year to this year, He's a lot more sleeker. Looks like he's a lot more agile. Watching him in practice, he's not as thick. He looks a little bit quicker. I'm excited for that. I think it's going to be Davon Booth leading the team in rushing, but Fluff Bothwell is going to have the opportunity that when you're in those short yardage situations, you can give it to him. You don't have to just rely. I remember there was a play against Florida. It's 4th down and 1. State goes for it, but Davon Booth had been the only running back to really do anything, and he was tired, and they kept him in, and he ran out of gas and got stuffed. But if you have fresh legs and a bigger body, the way that the Fluff Bothwell is kind of built, you're going to have a different person in those type of scenarios. So I think the 1-2 punch is going to be huge. Then you have Johnny Daniels being there. I don't know if how much Colin Wilson, the running back from Orange Beach, will be able to play this season. But I think he is I really think he's a talented back. We'll see again how much time he actually gets. But whenever State has that opportunity to run the ball, think about it. Week 2, Arizona State has better players than Mississippi State. There's no question about that. However, I mean, they're one of the best wide receivers. They have a very good quarterback, despite the fact him not playing very well against State last year. Like, a lot of people have him as one of the top returning quarterbacks. State is outgunned on that side of the ball. However, if State's able to run the ball effectively and wear them down, anything can happen. And that's kind of the point of what I think Jeff Lebby's going to try to do. He knows there's a talent deficiency, and these guys are smart. And so I think they're going to be running the ball a lot. I'm just going with Davon Booth. But tell me in the comments here, number 1, Blake Shapen or Kamario Taylor, who or will he start a game in 2025? If so, why? Why do you think it'll be because of an injury to Shapen, or do you think it's going to be because of Shapen struggling, Kamario really emerging? What's going to be the scenario in which that happens? Secondly, who leads Mississippi State in rushing this season? Davon Booth, Fluff Bothwell, or a third party we have not discussed? And also, I love saying Fluff Bothwell. Like, any sort of excuse I have, I'm going to say his name. There's just no doubt about it. So, as always, man, we sure do thank you guys so much for listening to My Dogs Pod on MPW Digital, presented by Heath Riles Barbecue. If you're barbecuing this weekend, using Heath Riles products or not, man, send me a picture. I'd love to see on X. I'm a barbecue fan, so I'm a fan of seeing what other people create. So, as always, thank you guys so much for listening, and we will holler at you on Thursday. I did want to mention 2 shows this week I'm going on that I'll post once they're posted. And that is the Florida Gators. I forget how he phrases his. Oh yeah, Gator Truth football podcast for Florida. Man, my friend there is awesome, a part of the College Huddle network, and so I'm excited about that. Again, once that's posted, I'll let you guys know. And then also going on the off-season After Dark podcast to talk about Mississippi State and the SEC with Mike Huseman. And so, man, excited about that. Again, we'll share that whenever it is time. But as always, thanks so much for listening, and we'll holler at you guys on Thursday.